I just don't support this whole bullying of cultures itself. Before we actually get into this video itself, what's up guys? My name's Adonis Boom. You guys are watching Adonis Live. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, raised in the Bronx, so yes, I am American, but I have an opinion on this video, and I don't really like to do reaction videos that much on this channel. I rather like tell stories about my particular life, but this video title makes me feel, first impressions, before we even watch it, I promise you I've never watched this video before at all, but we're gonna see right now, I genuinely feel like this video is going to be a cheeky little butts or juts or America this, America that from a European's perspective or Englishman's perspective, because throughout my travels actually being in Europe itself, I've learned that people always got something to slick or sly or a cheeky way of making a uppercut to Americans or America, like they're jealous or something like that. I'm not, no. If you think that they're jealous, comment down below or tell me what your opinion is about that. All right, let's get this thing started. Casually explained America.
It's known as the land of the free and home of the brave, and while land remains very expensive and most millennials and Gen Z are too anxious to answer phone calls, it's still nevertheless a pretty good slogan. One thing that's rarely considered by Americans, however, is that there are other countries in the world besides America. For example, the other day I saw a nice picture on Reddit where someone was like, "Everyone loved my homegrown tomato salad at our wedding reception," and one comment was like, "You shouldn't be having a wedding reception with dozens of people right now. That is completely irresponsible." And I had a bunch of upvotes. Then a couple hours later, the person responded saying, "I live in New Zealand, but I thought you might have liked to see my tomatoes. I'm sorry." And in a time like this, that really made me think, damn, I wish I was married. And while we're all still envious in New Zealand right now, a lot of people particularly criticize America's response to COVID-19 because 500,000 people have died from a half-assed pandemic response. But in my opinion, the number would be much higher than 550,000 if they had not locked down at all. And frankly, given the size of the country, it's remarkable that only 583,000 people have died so far.
Now, I'm not going to jump into the logistics of actually speaking about COVID-19. Everybody got their he say, she say. You can keep your COVID-19 perspectives on yourself. But Americans don't think that it's just America. We just don't pay attention to the other countries because America has all seasons in its own country itself. All right, so it's like you guys, like in the UK, you guys have a seasons where y'all get fruits. America doesn't. We're like our own little world in itself. So we don't really, there's no reason for us to look out into Europe when everything's here. You want to go to the Eiffel Tower, we go to Vegas. You want to go to wintertime, you go to the West. You want to go to summertime, you go to the South. We have everything there. I really don't like these little subtle jabs and underlying hidden aggressions towards other people's culture. Is really not nice at all, and I think it really should stop. It's not something that should be painted on in a type of way. Why are you bashing in another way a different country with your little cheeky undercut jokes? Like, it's not cool, bro. But whatever, let's see what you gotta say. 500,000 people die. Yeah, a lot of people die every year. I'm not gonna say that, like I said, I'm not getting into the whole COVID-19 conspiracy or whatever you guys want to call it, but people die every year, bro. I could die tomorrow, you know what I mean? And it'll add up to the total deaths.
Now, while many consider America to be the greatest country on Earth, this is most only true in terms of nuclear submarines. Nevertheless, America is known for its political democracy. Political democracy, of course, being the belief that if Cyberpunk barely functions on PlayStation, surely it would have worked great on Xbox. For this reason, one of the most exciting things to absolutely not be a part of is the American political climate. For example, sometimes I go on Twitter to make sure no one has escaped into the real world, and it's always an eye-opening experience, because there are really only two types of people on Twitter. On one side, there are the ones that think Trump is the Lord and Savior of God's flat earth, and on the other side are the people who think that denouncing a bottle of syrup relinquishes them from their original white sin. Some academics have suggested this kind of division could lead to a civil war, but in my opinion, as someone who grew up with Xbox Live and a microphone, it's sounding a lot more like a Halo 3 lobby than Fort Sumter 1861. For starters, if there is some type of conflict, it's already a no-brainer who would win. One side collects military-grade firearms as a hobby, and the other side thinks mental illnesses are Poke badges. Second of all, if you get a kid from California to march to the Deep South, when he sees 3 bedrooms in a yard for $100K, you can be pretty sure he'll be welding trailers, driving a lifted F-150, and banging Joe Exotic real quick. It seems to me if you chop off the two political extremes, basically everyone just wants a good life.
True.
The lives of city-dwelling and rural Americans are so different, of course they're never going to understand each other's perspectives.
All right, first of all, what? From my perspective, off rip, I feel like this guy feels to say that Trump supporters, he had a MAGA hat in the actual picture he was showing. So Republicans are more likely to win if there was a civil war in itself.
No-brainer who would win. One side collects military-grade firearms as a hobby, and the other side thinks mental illnesses are pokey badges.
That's what I'm saying. Look at these cheeky underlying throws that this guy's throwing. I'm not getting into it, you feel me? But I'm just gonna be paying attention to like what he's actually saying. And really, I get his point, you understand? But no, that's not true. Like, the Democratic Party do have people that do collect submarines. The Democratic Party do have people who are on both sides of the field. When you're talking about a civil war or people's rights and stuff like that, especially in America itself, there are people on both sides of the field. It's not just black people fighting for civil rights. It's white people as well. It's Spanish people as well. It's Asian people as well. That's a universal thing, you understand? So to say, oh, we already know which side might win is kind of biased, don't you think?
It's the same story back during the actual Civil War. Even though they were fighting, both the North and the South were ultimately saying the same thing. Black people should be free. Now, one of the craziest things about America is that you're drinking...
The North and the South were ultimately saying the same thing. No, they were not. The South wanted to keep the slaves because the slaves were actually bringing them lots of income throughout their lifetime. What are you talking about? The South wanted to keep the slaves because they was getting free labor, and the North wanted to free the slaves because it just wasn't right. The South wanted to actually preserve the union of the Declaration of Independence. Like, what is this?
Age is 21, as opposed to Canada where it's 18 or 19, or Europe when it's whenever you have the balls, or Latin America where laws are just things that police make up when they see a tourist. Now, a lot of people think it's ridiculous that you have to be 21 to buy alcohol, but personally, I think it makes a lot of sense. If my neighbor was some 18-year-old kid, and I saw him in the yard dual-wielding akimbo P90s and obliterating a paper cutout of his ex-girlfriend taped to a sandbag, I'd think to myself, well, good thing he isn't drunk. So, as a Canadian, in my opinion, one of the best things about America is that most people are unusually friendly.
Hold on, what is this guy talking about, bro? It's not okay. And all right, on this point, I'm gonna give you my general point. Let me calm down, bro. I don't think that you should be able to draft into war at the age of 18 and go risk your life to kill yourself in a whole war with the army and military, but you can't even have a decent drink. I'm not saying that drinking at a younger age is okay, acceptable, but if you can't drink, have the legal right to make your own decision to drink at the age of 18, what makes you have the legal right to sign yourself up to the military and go to war? What type of logic does that make? And I understand, oh, and you can get your own gun, but you can't have a drink. And I understand but reckless drinking and driving. What? Reckless drinking and driving. What? So are you saying that only people would, what about all these adults and what? What the hell am I talking about? I don't even know what I'm saying right now.
Like here in Canada, we mind our own business at all times. Unless we minorly inconvenience someone, in which case we apologize profusely for ruining their lives. But in the States, if you stand next to someone for literally any reason, that is permission for them to tell you all about their uninteresting life. So one of my most American experiences was when I went to Disney World, and I was waiting in a fairly long line for a churro, and there must have been at least 3 or 4 mobility scooters in front of me with some rather hefty individuals riding them around. And while that makes sense because it's Florida, the part that got me was when another 300-pound dude in a scooter just cut in front of me and was like, "A lot of traffic today." And I was just thinking, traffic? Sir, this is a churro line. And then as I was still processing what was happening, a lady about the same size wheels up behind him with a cone full of churros sticking out of her purse. She lightly rear ends his scooter like a bumper car. And he's like, "Oh, hey, honey," as he takes a churro and says to me, "Well, you have a good night," tips his Miami Dolphins hat, and rolls away hand in hand with his wife to watch the fireworks over the Disney castle and truly live the American dream.
What type of propaganda is this? Like, what are you saying? You're talking about a stereotype that, oh, Americans are fat. That is not true. Have you ever been to South Beach? Have you ever been to Miami? If you look at Miami, you'll see a lot of fit people, women and men. And let's clarify something. When you sit there and say, "Oh yes, because it's Florida, this is how it," what do you mean? Have you looked at the Olympics lately? Last time I checked, America's winning multiple goals in the actual sports. And I'm not saying, oh, because they're in the Olympics. No, we do have a structure, a curriculum of actual athletic society. We are a very physically fit athletic society itself. You're from Canada. Like, what? The only reason that Canada is even popping is from maple syrup, bacon, Drake, and Tory Lanez. And they all got popular in America. Like, I'm not, what? Okay.
So anyway, that's my argument against universal health care. Now, let's say you want to get out of America, but you can't because there's a wall. Instead, you can just ExpressVPN.
So now you're using your, if there's a wall, if you can't get out of America because there's a wall, ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN, these are the people that you're, like, this is the type of branding that you actually want to go with? Like, for real? Like, why are you bashing America, bro? You're from Canada. You're literally right up there. Like, I really don't get it at this moment in time, bro. Why? What is your motive of this? If we go to war and people trying to bomb us, they're going to be bombing you too. You're right there next to us. You're going to be going to war with us. Do you think that this is, like, valid, like, to get views and stuff like that? Like, what is this, bro? I'm not getting it. For every time I go to Europe or I travel around, everywhere, I'm telling you, every place that I've been, from my example, from my opinion, all right, every place that I've been, they all don't like America. They always got something negative or cheeky to say about America. But Americans are supposed to say everything uplifting about every other country, bro. It's not cool. Like, why, what are you doing, bro? I'm not understanding. I don't get the point of this. Are you a comedian? If you are a comedian, then, well, in such of a sensitive time in reality itself, I just don't think that was, it just wasn't my cup of tea. But if it is a comedic aspect, some of your jokes were hitting, but I'm just not into it. I'm kind of turned off on this. I just don't support this whole bullying of cultures itself. I don't support bullying of cultures, bro. Like, that's not cool. If the only way that you feel that you're successful is bullying another person's culture or another person's people, like, you just fat shamed somebody, like, right now in this video. Oh, I seen a couple of fat people. So what if they're overweight? So what if they're thicker than the average person? And don't assume that everybody in America is like that. But so what? You got a problem with fat people now? Because they're not like you? Well, since you're Canadian and you said, you know, if you ruined my day, well, you definitely rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm sure you rubbed a lot of other people the wrong way itself. Bro, stop trying to bash other people's cultures, bro. It's not cool. Cyberbullying a culture. Come on, bro. On that note, comment down below what you guys think, in your opinion on that. I don't know. I just saw it and I didn't even react. Look, like I said from the beginning, I was correct. This is a little bashing thing. Let's see what we got. It's a movie. Let's get it. Bro, this is lit.